Well, it had its moments, both good and bad, but it also featured one of the best TV matches I've seen in quite some time. I'm John Rentham with my review of AEW Dynamite, and let's jump right on into it with Archer versus Eddie Kingston. And Archer sends Jake Roberts to the back, says, I don't need you, it's going to be one-on-one, there's no way that anybody else is going to interfere, and also, oh, Jake Roberts, you're needed for a spot later, you better go back there, better toodle on back there. Eddie uses dirty tactics, street fight tactics, and also targets the knee. Archer uses his power, at one point chokeslamming Eddie from inside the ring to outside the ring, where Eddie's hip turned to fucking mulch, hitting the apron. Ouch, please stop with the apron bumps. They didn't stop with the apron bumps, they did a few in the main event. Because fuck it, because the apron bump doesn't mean anything anymore. I hope Eddie's okay. Both are legit tough, but that looked really painful. He got his head slammed into the camera a little bit later. Eddie did target the knee again and did some really good stuff. And then Archer came back with the rope walk, really impressive rope walk with the moonsault off the ropes. Hard to believe that man had a really bad back injury and can still do this shit, and especially at that size. And he does do the claw, but doesn't get the cover because the Butcher and the Blade sort of wake Jake Roberts up, and they're like, Jake, it's time for your spot. What? You know, it's like Homer trying to wake up. And they drag him out there, and Archer's like, oh no, Jake Roberts is half asleep. I better go wake him up. And also, they're beating up my manager. And then the bunny comes down, gives Eddie something, you know, where he can do the spinning back fist, a loaded spinning back fist, and does that and hits Archer 1, 2, 3, and then they beat him up afterwards. Now, I like this because they have been building this since AEW All Out, and Kingston's like, oh, he never eliminated me, and they've been doing this, and now Eddie has to use all the numbers to his advantage to beat the bigger Lance Archer. And then what they can do, Archer can get a couple friends, Lucha Bros, or somebody, I don't know who he could get to where he can get Eddie Kingston on his own, you know, one-on-one again, maybe in a street fight at Revolution, since it's going to be March 7th. They have enough time to build that. Archer can beat Kingston at Revolution, and then you move on from that feud. But I like this. I actually think it's a pretty good way to do it, and at least it was a different clash of styles. It was something different. I will give them credit for that. And then we have Moxley talking about everybody warring with each other, factions and all that and everything, and talks about having sex in the morning to start the day off right, which I'm sure Renee enjoys. Obviously, since they're going to have a kid. And good luck to them, and I hope that kid turns out happy and healthy, and I think they're going to make great parents. So then he also says he will team with Pac and Phoenix against Good Brothers and Omega next week. One thing I do like about AEW is that they occasionally build, like, you know, a big supercard, Clash of Champions, this kind of stuff, Beach Break, and then, you know, other stuff. They did the Winter is Coming thing, which I didn't necessarily care for, and you know why. But, you know, New Year's Smash and that kind of stuff. It's nice. They build these cards, and they do billboard this stuff pretty well. Whether I like all the stuff or not is subject to debate because we all like different things, but I do at least like that they will do that. Sometimes it's Car Crash TV, sometimes it's stuff I don't like. Beach Break, however, could be good. I don't know how good it'll be, but we'll see next week. We then get Darby and Sting in some dilapidated warehouse that they must have borrowed from Matt Hardy. It's a dilapidated, you get it. They're just talking about being hoodlums. Every time I hear Sting talk now, by the way, I just think of Milhouse pointing to Grandpa Simpson saying, hey, look, everybody, an old man's talking. And even though Sting's one of my favorites of all time, that's all I can think of. They talk about being hoodlums. Yeah, we're going to put a 61-year-old man in a cinematic match. Cinematic well ran dry about, I would say, 8 months ago. If not, you know, right after the first one, the Boneyard match, which wasn't even that great. You can only do so much cinematic wrestling before it gets poisoned. And I have not really cared for a lot of it. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But if this benefits Darby, great. I'm sorry. I'm kind of bored of Sting already being on television. I just am. I mean, it was cool he showed up and then it's like, oh great, he's a 61-year-old man with a full-time multi-year contract to do what? But you know what? Darby seems to be enjoying it, and if other fans enjoy it, that's fine. It's just not for me. So anyway, we get the Varsity Blondes, Garrison and Pillman Jr. versus MJF and Jericho with the Inner Circle. Griff Garrison takes it to MJF, referencing the time where MJF beat up Griff Garrison, you know, when he had that undefeated thing and all that, and he beat the shit out of him. This time Griff Garrison took it to him. He has improved a lot. Him and Pillman Jr. are a good team. And this was great when Jericho wasn't involved. MJF really making the most of this. We get the juice effect and then Lion Salt with a smile, 1, 2, 3, because Jericho's like, yeah, look, I can do a Lion Salt. It's not like when everybody laughed at me last week because I took a stutter step and then, you know, almost freaking fell on my head. Thankfully, he didn't. It kind of reminded me, it was like not quite as bad as when Kurt Hennig had to basically save him from botching a lion salt a long time ago on Nitro, and that's when Jericho was really young. Here's the thing: Jericho may not like the criticism, but it's funny that a man that apparently has such thick skin responds to criticism like such a little bitch, and he does respond like a little bitch. So Jericho needs to just take his lumps at 30. 30 years in wrestling. I mean, he's been in it for quite a goddamn while. He's just deteriorated physically to the point where he can't fucking do anything. Sure, he did one decent lion salt. Congratulations, Chris. Fucking golf clap. A blind squirrel finds a nut, a broken clock is right twice a day, and you can do one decent lion salt without spiking yourself on your goddamn head. Drink a little bit more of the bubbly, or maybe don't drink more of the bubbly and actually look like you're taking things seriously, and then maybe people won't make so much fun of you. Seriously, he physically looks shot. He managed to do one good move. Congratulations. There are people over in Japan that can do, shit, and they're a few years older than Jericho. They wrestled a harder style than he did. So anyway, MJF and Jericho are going to probably win that tag team battle royal next week, which nobody wants to see. Nothing against MJF, but I just don't want to see Jericho holding any more gold. Shaq then calls out Cody. Hey, name the time and the place, and I'll be there. Calls him a little blonde bitch and all that, and great, Shaq and Cody. This is not what I wanted to see. Oh, here's Cody with his ego stroking Pyro, and Arn's also back. It looks like Arn's lost a little bit of weight, which is good at his age with his mileage. It's probably a good thing that he did. Cody then says Revolution was supposed to be a mixed tag with him and Brandy against Shaq and Jade. That's not going to happen. Arn then says, be patient with me. You're about to be a dad. He references June 29th, 1985. Tully faced Dusty. They went 30 minutes in LA, and then he jumped on the plane just in time to see Cody be born. And that was a really good story. You could tell that meant a lot to Cody. And then talks about March 7th at Revolution. Revolution is not a mystery, unlike Evolution. And talks about Shaq and says, well, Jade does command the room, but here's Red Velvet. Red Velvet is going to handle Jade. So obviously we're going to get Cody and Red Velvet against Shaq and Jade. This is going to be a train wreck. I mean, Red Velvet's not that bad. Cody's pretty good in the ring. Shaq, I think, will try to take it seriously. If Jade wrestles half as good as she looks, then maybe it won't be a train wreck. I have a feeling it will be, but it's going to be on pay-per-view. We're going to have to pay to watch it, and that's the right way to hook people. And I did like how Red Velvet says, Cody won't lay a hand on Jay, but I will. I'm about to stir your bitch ass up. And I think JR even said she said bitch ass, so you know she's serious. Penelope Kip and Miro and Charles Taylor. Charles, don't call me Chuck Taylor, are talking about the first three, and then Taylor just kind of gets abused. Talking about the wedding next week. Cool, whatever. I wish nothing but the best for Penelope and Kip in all seriousness. They seem like a very nice couple. Miro really should be taken more seriously as a brute, and I liked how they featured him on Dark, and I just don't know what they're doing here. Paige and Ryan Nemeth, Dolph's slightly younger brother. I say slightly because I think it's only by 4 years. Paige is more aggressive. There are times where Paige is his own worst enemy, yet when we say it, and if the particular Twitter account that I talk to, that knows that joke, watches, appreciate you. Suddenly, Matt Hardy is here. He's cheering on Adam Page. Spike DDT by Nemeth, and then Buckshot Larry for 3. And then Shivani talks to Matt and Page. Matt references, you've been lost. Your friends in the Elite and the Stadium Stampede and all that. You're a good person. You deserve to be happy. I have a big dressing room. Come and dress in my dressing room. That's pretty much it. He extends the olive branch. No strings attached. Okay. Jungle Boy promo and Dax also kind of promo talking about what this match means and how Luchasaurus is going to be handcuffed to Tully and Cash. Tarzan Boy is fucking catchy. Really goddamn catchy. Jungle Boy and Dax. Fucking fantastic. Great TV match. This would have belonged on pay-per-view. This was fucking fabulous. Dax gave Jungle Boy a lot of stuff. He showed that he was a veteran, but the Jungle Boy was always in it. Luchasaurus being handcuffed to Cash and Tully. Why did I get Great American Bash 1990 flashbacks of Ole Anderson being handcuffed to Elegante? Match is great, well paced. I like the back suplex off the top for 2. The Liger Bomb off the ropes. Jungle Boy roaring back near Fall City. This was really good stuff. I can't do it justice. watch this match. If you had this on DVR and you haven't at least rewatched it like once, like I have, I mean, I don't know what you're doing. I really love this match. I'm not sure how somebody couldn't like this match, but again, we all like different things, but I really fucking love this. And you got the snare trap, for the win. So Jungle Boy gained the victory, which actually shocked me. But then they they got free of the handcuffs. They threw the powder in Luchasaurus' eyes and beat him down. Spike pile driver to Luchasaurus. Tully has fallen and he can't get up. And then they cut the horns off of its mask. And then everybody runs out there, including Stunt with a chair that's taller than he is. And oh no, Luchasaurus is all... He's no longer horny. He's no longer a horny dinosaur. Have fun on seeing that. And then Team Taz confronts merch guys and tosses one into a trailer like Rey Mysterio when the Outsiders attacked him. This would be good except for one thing. Team Taz has run away from his 61-year-old man and Darby. And I love Darby Allin. He's got a skateboard and, he's cool and everything and he is dangerous. But if you look at it, look at Team Taz. Even if Taz can't get physically involved. You got Hook. Yeah, who is also there. But you have Cage, you have Hobbs, and you have Starks. You have three legit athletes. You have a 61-year-old man with a bad neck and Darby Allin. Just the visual of it, I would take Team Taz more seriously, except I'm like, okay, they're trying to juice this up. And you beat up a bunch of merch guys. You've also run from a 61-year-old guy with a bad neck. How am I supposed to take it seriously? Britt Baker with Reba versus Miss Close the Borders, a.k.a. Shanna. And cool, Shanna hit her chest right on the ropes because... as good of an athlete as she may be, she's kind of an idiot when it comes to bouncing off the ropes. Reba distracts Lockjaw on Shanna. I don't mind Britt, but Shanna kind of pissed me off with some of the shit she's... We can all have different opinions, but you know what? I don't fucking care. If you want to talk about closing the borders to a particular type of people, you're a fucking asshole. So anyway, Thunder Rosa runs out and runs them off. They're going to face off against each other at Beach Break, Britt and Thunder Rosa, which I'm looking forward to. And then MJF is looking for Sammy. Well, I'm docking Wardlow's pay because he wasn't supposed to interfere, and he won't interfere again. He's like, I see what you're doing. You won't fool me. He's like, you sure you want to play this way? I'm not. Or you sure you want to play it like this? I'm not playing. And then women's tourney match coming up will be Serena D versus the returning Riho. Riho returning. I didn't care one bit. I didn't miss Riho when she left. I have nothing against her, but I didn't want to see her back. Whatever. Anyway, the women's title eliminator tournament is going to be kind of interesting. And it's a tag team battle royal that they're going to have. The Bucks are also in it because they are going, if they win, they get to choose their own opponents. Dasha interviews the Good Brothers and the Bucks. Bullet Club reunion. Great. The reunion I didn't fucking want. I have no desire to see this AEW version of the Bullet Club. I don't even like to see it in New Japan. I'm over the fucking Bullet Club. It's like NWO 2021. It's like NWO 2000, only worse. That's saying something. Anyway, Omega and Callis, because Callis has to find a way to stroke his ego and get on this goddamn show. And the Buck Brothers, as I'm going to call them, versus Dark Order members, Uno and Grayson, and Silver and Reynolds. My exact notes, am I supposed to care about this AEW attempt at the club? No. Okay, cool. Silver ran wild. He did some cool stuff, and Flippy Shit Party, and Meltzer Driver 1, 2, 3. If people like this Bullet Club reunion, that's fine. I don't care for it. That's just my opinion. I don't mind the Good Brothers. I'm not the biggest fan of the Bucks, but it is what it is. Battle Royal plug. The Bucks say they can pick anybody, and they look at the Good Brothers like, oh no, too sweet, all that, and the thing that was really that stopped being cool around the time, I don't know, of the NWO 1998, 99. Anyway, Phoenix runs in, and then he gets laid out. Then Mox is in, and then Phoenix dies. And then Omega tries to hit Mox with a shoe, who hits somebody with a shoe. Honestly, paradigm shift, and Omega sells it like he got spiked on his stupid little head. Yeah, whatever. You know what? I didn't really care for the ending, but some of the matches were actually pretty good. And boy, that fucking that Jungle Boy Dax match, that was really fucking fantastic. I gotta watch that again. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.